Disclosure Day is a good movie, but it might be the safest possible version of a great idea. And that's what frustrated me. This movie has aliens, psychic abilities, government cover ups, stolen technology, religious panic, and the entire world sitting on the edge of nuclear war. It has everything it needs to go somewhere strange, uncomfortable, or genuinely risky. But every time it gets close, it pulls back and chooses the most predictable Steven Spielberg answer possible. Before I get into it, like and follow if you're into movie reviews where we actually say what we think. The movie follows Daniel Kellner, a cybersecurity expert who steals decades of classified evidence, proving that non-human life has been visiting Earth. At the same time, Margaret Fairchild, a local weather reporter, suddenly starts speaking languages she never learned and knowing deeply personal things about complete strangers. Daniel can understand the aliens through mathematics. Margaret can understand people through some kind of psychic connection. A secret organization called Vortex wants to stop them, and both characters are slowly pulled toward each other because apparently they are the two people chosen to help reveal the truth to the world. That setup is strong. The problem is that Disclosure Day follows the Spielberg formula so closely that you can feel every emotional beat coming before it arrives. You have ordinary people connected to something bigger than themselves. You have strange animals acting like messengers. You have childhood memories being blocked. You have a shadowy government organization hiding the truth because humanity supposedly isn't ready. You have broken families, questions about God, terrified people learning to trust the unknown, and a final message about empathy saving the world. The movie doesn't just use the Spielberg formula, it follows it to the teeth. And to be fair, Spielberg is still good at this stuff. The opening works because Daniel and Margaret feel like they're in two completely different movies. Daniel is escaping with stolen drives and some dangerous alien device, while Margaret is doing weather reports, dancing around her apartment, and trying to figure out why she suddenly understands Russian, Korean, and the private lives of random people. Emily Blunt is easily the best part of the movie because she makes Margaret feel like an actual person instead of just the chosen one. When she gets pulled over and suddenly starts telling the police officer about his wife, his baby, the cupcakes he should buy, and the restaurant he needs to take her to. The scene is funny, but it's also uncomfortable. Margaret isn't trying to invade his life. The information just comes through her, and she has no control over it. That's the most interesting idea in the whole movie. Her ability sounds like a gift, but it feels more like losing ownership of your own mind. She looks at somebody and suddenly becomes part of their memories. She knows what they're afraid of, who they love, and what they're trying to hide. The movie is at its best when Margaret isn't scared of aliens. She's scared that there's no longer a clear line between herself and everybody else. Her panic attack after the train sequence proves that. She starts shaking and thinks she has Parkinson's like her father. She says she has no mind of her own anymore. And for a second, the movie stops being about disclosure and becomes about somebody terrified that she's disappearing inside other people. That scene actually got me. Josh O'Connor is also good as Daniel because he doesn't play him like some cool action hero. Daniel is smart enough to steal the biggest secret in human history, but the second the plan goes wrong, he looks like he wants to hand the backpack to literally anybody else. He understands the information, but he is not prepared to carry the responsibility. The argument between Daniel and Jane is another part that works. Daniel believes the truth belongs to everyone. Jane believes that proving aliens exist could destroy faith, governments, and whatever stability humanity has left. And honestly, both of them have a point. Vortex didn't just hide evidence. They captured living beings, experimented on them, stole their technology, and turned the biggest discovery in history into a private industry. Once Daniel shows Jane that footage, keeping the secret doesn't look like protection anymore. It looks like powerful people protecting their power. But Jane is also right to question what happens after the truth comes out. The world is already close to nuclear war. People are panicking. Governments don't trust each other, revealing that those same governments have been lying for decades could unite humanity or it could completely break it. That should have been the movie's main conflict. Instead, Disclosure Day keeps running away from that question and into another chase scene. Daniel escapes. Margaret escapes. Vortex finds them. They escape again. Someone tells them to go north, then east, then back to Kansas City. After a while, the middle starts feeling repetitive because the characters keep moving, but the actual argument barely moves with them. And this is where the movie started losing me. It keeps pretending that it might go somewhere dark, but it never really does. The aliens aren't dangerous. Margaret's powers are part of a larger purpose. Daniel and Margaret were connected as children. The scary memories are actually misunderstood. Contact, empathy is the greatest evolutionary advantage. Humanity just needs to stop being afraid and listen. Of course, that's the message. The second Hugo starts explaining that the aliens value empathy, you already know how the movie ends. The truth will go live. The world will stop fighting. Everyone will look up. The unknown will turn out to be beautiful instead of terrifying. Real talk, Disclosure Day is a movie about discovering the unknown that is terrified of making an unknown choice. That doesn't make it bad. Spielberg still knows how to create wonder. Emily Blunt gives the movie a real emotional center. Josh O'Connor makes Daniel nervous, awkward, and likable. The TV station climax is exciting, and I love that the biggest secret in human history is revealed through a local Kansas City broadcast instead of some giant government press conference. But the movie is well made, emotional, and easy to watch. But it also feels like Spielberg returning to ideas he has already explored, only this time with fewer surprises. The government is wrong. The believers deserve to be heard. The aliens are misunderstood. Communication saves us. Love and empathy are stronger than fear. None of that is a bad message. It's just a message we've heard from him before, delivered in almost exactly the way you expect. So yeah, for me, Disclosure Day is a 6 out of 10. It's a good movie with a great concept, strong performances, and a few genuinely emotional moments. But it never takes the risk its own story is begging it to take. It stares directly into the biggest mystery in the universe, then gives us the safest answer it can find.